Your immune system has not gone rogue. There are reasons why it is behaving this way if you're dealing with an autoimmune disease. In fact, there are three reasons that I'm going to share with you right now in today's session, which will give you an idea as to what's going on really at the crux of any autoimmunity, why your body is behaving, your immune system in particular is behaving this way. And once you are more aware of this, you can also figure out, what are the areas that you need to focus on, what aspects of health creation or what aspects of autoimmunity you might be misled to believe, which is completely different from what typically a conventional approach is, which is more of suppressing the immune system. So just stay with me as I share with you these three reasons, and I also share with you what are the possible solutions to this and where you can start making those changes and what kind of approach you need to be taking. And in fact, my name is Anindita. I help women with autoimmune conditions ease their pain, reduce their fatigue, and get their lives back on track using a root cause approach, a functional medicine approach. And I'm opening my coaching program for enrollment. I work with a limited number of one-on-one clients, and you can schedule a clarity call to understand whether we are right fit for each other, how it would work exactly. I'll be sharing the link below in the Facebook post under this video, and if you're on Instagram, then you can find the link in the bio. But let's get going. Let's move ahead with what's really going on. Why is your immune system behaving this way? And when we use terms like attacking my body, I don't like to use those terms, and there's a reason for it, and I will share that with you right now, because there is a reason why your immune system has chosen to produce antibodies towards your own tissues. It's a loss of immune tolerance, loss of tolerance to self, that and there is a whole process behind this, and it happens over time. Basically, you don't wake up one fine morning and develop autoimmunity. For that note, you don't wake up one fine morning and develop any chronic illness. There is a whole disease progression that takes place, usually years if not decades before you get a diagnosis, before you even see the symptoms. And I talk about it in my blog posts. I talk about it in various these live sessions that I do, that symptoms actually come much later. By that time, a lot of the damage has been done, and so it's an issue the way we are approaching all these chronic illnesses. But the good thing is that no matter where you are at this stage of your of your disease diagnosis or lack of diagnosis, in some cases there are always steps that you can take once you understand what is really at play. Why is your immune system behaving this way, right? So the first thing that you need to first sort of internalize is the fact that your body is not defective. Your body is not defective, or immune system has not gone berserk, or any other words that you would like to choose to describe it. It is simply trying its best to protect you. It is we call it an evolutionary mismatch. The thing is that your body, the way it has evolved over millions of years of evolution, and the environment that it used to live in and today's environment, are so different. The change has taken place so rapidly, especially in terms of the stressful lifestyles that we lead, the kind of toxins that we are exposed to, the kind of nutritional deficiencies that we have become accustomed to, whether it's because the soil has become there are many reasons for it, but whether the soil has become depleted in some of the nutrients, or we are opting for more and more processed foods and nutrient poor foods. And it's usually a combination of these factors. So there's a huge mismatch between what your body or what our bodies have evolved to live with and in and thrive. Because as you might realize that health is not just the absence of disease, right? Health is a very different thing than just trying to prevent disease. Preventing disease is one part of it, only one part of the equation. The other, and I think a more important part, is actually living a vibrant life, right? Where your health is actually vibrant, you have lots of energy, you have meaning and purpose in life, you're really enjoying your life, with your family, your loved ones, your children, you're enjoying your work, you're able to do what you want to do. you're able to follow your passions. All of that is what makes up a vibrant life rather than just the absence of disease. So this is the environment. If you're asking your body to live in, then is it any wonder that your body is sort of trying to adapt and the best that it can, given whatever tools that it has. And autoimmunity is one form of maladaptation. And there are three things at the crux of any autoimmunity. I'll just get into that before I give you, some reasons why your immune system is behaving this way. But for autoimmunity to actually take place, there are three things, and we call it the perfect storm. And there's a lot of research behind this. That one is your enhanced intestinal permeability, aka leaky gut. That can happen for many different reasons, where your intestinal barrier, which is supposed to be selectively permeable and allow only certain food completely digested food, particles, etc., to go through into the bloodstream. What starts allowing becomes enhanced and starts allowing many other things to go through, including microbes, including undigested food. And also, so this is one part of it. Then you also have low vitamin D levels, which affects the gut, that does gut barrier function. Then you have gluten, which itself, all by itself, causes this enhanced intestinal permeability. Certain medications like non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs, toxins. And so you have this, then you have a genetic predisposition to autoimmunity. And then the final thing is your environmental trigger. It can be any kind of trigger, any toxin, any infection, anything that sort of just triggers off this autoimmunity. A lot of people actually find that there was a viral infection, and after that, they started seeing these symptoms and they got diagnosed. So it can also be this particular pandemic. So it can be any virus, any infection. So there is something which is at play, and underneath all of this is usually a weak and an imbalanced immune system, right? This sort of ties in together, and this entire thing, as I mentioned, is a form of maladaptation. Your immune system is trying its best to figure out what it needs to do, what is foreign, what is not foreign. So this is the first aspect, right? This is one of the first reasons why your immune system starts behaving in this manner. The second reason is molecular mimicry, which again goes hand in hand with this. Molecular mimicry is where your immune system perceives any part of your body to be a threat because it actually resembles either a virus or some other chemical agent or an infectious agent, like as I mentioned, a virus. A classic example, and this actually will give you an idea behind the thyroid and gluten connection. Like, a lot of people are still think that gluten intolerance is more of a fad because you may not see the digestive symptoms, and many people don't. My daughter has gluten intolerance. She certainly had never had any digestive symptoms, but her it showed up on her skin, and it didn't show. It's not an allergy, so you don't even get to know immediately, which is a problem with any kind of intolerance. But coming back to molecular mimicry, what happens is that when a particular part of your body tissue, in this particular case, in the case of thyroid, the gliadin, which is a protein component of gluten, resembles the component of your thyroid gland, and that basically makes your immune system start developing antibodies towards it. So this is in part what induces autoimmunity in the case of thyroid diseases like Hashimoto's and Graves, but it can simply happen in, and it does happen in many other autoimmune conditions where a particular component of an infectious agent actually resembles a protein in the body, right? Which is, and it might be that your immune system is trying to combat that particular agent, which is maybe in a particular tissue, and it starts developing antibodies to that particular tissue, and you develop autoimmunity as a result of that. The last reason why your immune system is behaving this way is immune imbalance. And that can also happen due to various reasons. As I said, a weak and imbalanced immune system also lies at the bottom of any autoimmunity. A weak and imbalanced immune system is also sort of necessary, not necessary, it contributes to the other three factors that I mentioned, which we call the perfect storm, which includes an enhanced intestinal permeability, aka leaky gut, as we call it, a genetic predisposition, and an environmental trigger. These three are called the perfect storm. And when you also add in a weak and imbalanced immune system, then you have a perfect breeding ground for autoimmunity, right? And immune imbalance can, of course, happen for many different reasons. It's basically immunodeficiency. Typically, what is very common is a lack of key nutrients. Your body is simply not getting, either because the food is lacking these nutrients, or there is a maldigestion, malabsorption, because you might be having the healthiest food in the world, very balanced diet, but if your digestion is not up to the mark, if there is gut dysbiosis, then again you will not be absorbing these nutrients like vitamin D, zinc, vitamin A, and if there's an ongoing infection, so immune system are actually busy fighting that kind of infection in some other part of your body, and so it's basically like an overworked police force, right? So so it's bound to either become hyper vigilant or become uh, underreactive, right? So you don't want either to happen. You want a healthy and balanced immune system. But at the end of the day, what you are looking for is actually the fact that disease begins in the gut, right? So if your gut is in poor shape, if there is gut dysbiosis which is going on, and most people do figure out that there is some element of gut dysbiosis because of the symptoms, but you can be rest assured there is immune dysregulation, simply because 70 to 80% of immune system lies in your gut, right? So if there is dysbiosis, there is a nutrient poor foods that you're consuming, toxins, and even malnourishment. For these various reasons, you can have your disease beginning in the gut, starting with minor irritations and leading up to autoimmunity. And as Dr. Noel Rose of the autoimmune division of John Hopkins University has said, autoimmunity is your immune system's attempt to all the new environmental agents, right? So all the things that are going on in the world, the toxins, the nutrient poor foods that I mentioned, and it's an unsuccessful adaptation, right? That's a problem. It's an adaptation at the end of the day, but it's an unsuccessful one, which is because it's working against you, and it's our body's way of fighting back. So your body is trying to fight back. Your body is trying to keep you alive, protect you, keep you safe the best that it can. Unfortunately, as a way of doing that, the immune system becomes hypervigilant, overreactive, and does not remain balanced anymore, which is where autoimmunity typically comes in. And so this is sort of in I think in a nutshell what your immune system is trying to do. Give me a sec. So let me see what else I have missed out on. So, what you need to be very clear about is how do you support your body's immune function, immune health, right? What is it that you need to do? And when I work with my coaching clients, women with autoimmune diseases, what we do is first we change the approach. We approach the approach that we take is that our body needs our support. We cannot treat it as an adversary and be at war with it to become better, to as in terms of health creation, not just symptom management. So we need to make our body our friend, so that we are tuned into what messages it's trying to give us, and we need to stand up for our body's healing capabilities, right? So it means that we actually become the true expert on our own healing process journey that we really are. We need to own up to that. We are the ones who know what our body needs from ourselves, but it's just that we don't really pay attention. Sometimes we are so disconnected, we don't even realize when our body is crying out for more sleep or more hydration. The small things, basic things, but which are very important for healing. And so just making a stand that you want to become your body's friend, or you make your body your friend. You you are the true expert on your body's healing process. So you just own up to that, right? That's where you start, and that's where you start seeing a change. So we start always at the basics, right, rather than trying to be at a be at a very high level. So what I do is that in my coaching program, Healing from Within, it's a 6-month comprehensive transformative coaching program for women with autoimmune conditions. And we start by simplifying the whole health creation process. So the first step phase is about simplifying. The second step is about reconnecting. So figuring out what else is going on, what are the connections between your environment, your symptoms, what has been going on since your birth. So disconnecting, and of course, more importantly, connecting with your body and trying to figure out what it needs to heal. And last is to sustain all the improvements that we see, right? Because sustaining is very important. We do not want to be stuck in a revolving door of disease where we do certain things, we feel better, and then again we come back to that same scenario in 6 months or 1 year time. So that's what I don't want. So the way we do is we put certain self-care practices in place, emotional regulation, many things that we put in place as toolkits to ensure that you are not stuck in a revolving door of disease. You are able to figure out over, even after my clients stop working with me, they know what their body needs from them, so that they're able to sustain these results, like these health improvements. So, as I mentioned, my enrollment is opening for Healing from Within. It's a 6-month uh, comprehensive transformative coaching program for women with autoimmune conditions. You can schedule a free 45 minutes clarity call. It's So that we get an idea about what's really happening with you, whether we are a right fit for each other. So if you're ready to ease your pain, reduce your fatigue, and get better by using a root cause approach, then do schedule the session. The link is going to be shared below in the Facebook post, and the link is in the bio in the Instagram. I'll see you soon.